Everyone, everybody hears me okay?
Burju, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today. I'm going to wait maybe one more minute just so we have more attendees joining. Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be covering converting a static PDF to interactive digital work instructions in our platform today with our webinar. My name is Burju. I work as the VP of Systems Engineering Customer Success with Canvas team. Joining me on the call, as you guys can see, Jack Levengy. He's one of our customer success managers in our team. So what I wanted to do just to share my screen, please give me the thumbs up as soon as you guys can see the screen, okay? This is it okay?
It's up and running.
Burju, I can see it.
Awesome. So I'm presenting directly from Canvas Envision platform. Our customers can create and actually present directly from our platform, either from the creator environment or also in the collaboration side of things, directly from one solution. Just to give you guys a general overview, Canvas Envision helps our customers to create and simply consume interactive work instructions to train and guide their manufacturing teams, product users, and MRO team members. We heard our customers utilizing our platform for manufacturing process instructions, standard operating procedures, maintenance repair guides, as well as training material. Simply, you can use Envision platform today as a standalone tool. Also, employ it into our own cloud solution to save the documentation and consume from your own choice of cloud places. We can integrate with different systems of organization choices also. So let me go into the next slide. This is about evolving customer value proposition. We know our customers can create documentation faster and easier in our platform, blending 2D, 3D information together, utilizing images, real-world photos, as well as textual and tabular data in one single solution. So they don't really have to go in different tools to be able to create the content. And we made our application easy to use, so no technical skills required, no engineering background is necessary. You can simply start utilizing CAD data in our solution. And also, no dependencies on the third-party plugins to consume the content. We can integrate with your systems, but if you want to choose to use the Envision as a standalone tool, you can simply consume the documentation from your web browser. Since the documentation is rich in quality, interactive, and also animated, it helps our customers to create faster and better knowledge transfer to their technicians, shop floor team members, and hence minimizes process errors and delays. And with that, we also added in our platform to be able to easily update the CAD information. As soon as the engineering team changes the design, you can update your documentation with all the related images attached to that import and simply permeate the changes in your document. Hence, you don't have to wait until design is completed. You can start creating the content as soon as you have the first version of your technology in the content creation. We are as a standalone platform for our customers. So for if they wanted to choose to use it in their own cloud solutions or using our cloud environment, we can also integrate with their choice of third-party solutions or in-house solutions to consume this content for the shop factory floor or simply warehouses or on-site engineers. Let me skip one more slide. This is our architecture of Envision platform today. We do have the desktop creator for our customers to create the content if they choose to install the application in their desktop, or they can simply create it online in their web browser and simply consume the content directly from the browser viewer from any browser of their choice. And utilizing our cloud solutions, theirs, whichever of their solution that is in their organization, or simply in server environment. We also heard use cases from our customers visualizing this documentation through their MES system as well as their learning management. So we created APIs and as specific SDKs to be able to take our viewer to implement into their different technologies also. And PLM integration, we also heard our customers to simply get the latest version of their CAD data that permeates to their documentation changes and also create structured content as well. This is our Envision 2024 outlook. We believe with integration with the different systems, Envision documentation can be utilized from different environments and could be open to more end users to be able to consume this documentation. Hence, developing the functionality. We built SDKs and APIs to be able to integrate with these different systems today. And we also are working with the AI team in our organization to be able to faster finding the content that is going to help our customers to minimize the scrap as well as reduce the downtime with their technologies, the machineries that they are working. So just want to pause in here and see if there are any questions for me at this time. Just want to look at the polls on the left-hand side to see if there is any questions. Let me check. I think we're good to go. So what I'm going to do right now, as our topic indicates, I'm going to take a flat PDF documentation, and I'm going to make it as an interactive documentation with you guys. So to do that, I'm inside of environment of Envision. As you guys can see, the presentation that I was just showing it to you, I'm going to open a blank canvas over here to click on open and simply bring a portrait documentation layout. Because I know my PDF is in the portrait layout, that's the choice of I can make. And you can also change that inside of our tool later on if you choose landscape by mistake. So now that we're in Canvas Envision, I'm going to go into the Insert tab. And as you guys can see, our platform, as I was just mentioning, is easy to use and easy to learn how to maneuver to bring different types of data, draw anything from scratch if you wanted to create any kind of drawings, vector graphics inside of our tool, and simply get access to the layout to pick your landscape or portrait type of documentation, as well as putting in the presentation mode. And we're going to talk about more on the markup and review side of things as well, to be able to collaborate with your internal or external stakeholders during the documentation creation. So let's go ahead and append our PDF documentation to this black canvas. And I'm going to browse to my directory, find Write PDF. And before I click on append, I encourage my customers to click on Show Import Options to see all the functionalities they can bring their PDFs with. And as you guys can see in here, we have a lot of settings to be able to bring the fonts perfectly, or the vector precision perfectly, or the layers in the documentation that they saved as PDF. and simply bring different environments as well into our platform. And if you're happy with the settings that you already bring your PDF documentation, you can put these in default mode as well. So we're going to, Envision's going to open this PDF in every page that we see, and as well as simply, configure all the mapping of the fonts. As you guys know, there's different ways of creating PDFs in these days. You can even create PDFs from a printer. So, and if this is coming from an application that is like graphics tool, then your vector graphics and everything else will be coming into Envision that we can unfold, and you guys have the full functionality inside of our tool. You guys see, this is a printer, 3D printer manual. We wanted to pick something that is very common for anyone on the call. The first page that I started my black canvas with, I'm just going to delete that. But this is a 17-page 3D printer user manual. It has visuals like images. You have textual information in here. We have some parts information that goes into assembly of this 3D printer. And as you guys can see, if I go a little bit down, when we unfold this 3D with this PDF, we have access to different drawings, and we could see everything in their proper order. Envision does an amazing job in terms of the vector graphics, because that's where our legacy is coming from. We have been around for 30 years with the 2D graphics, and we have the precision in terms of bringing the vector graphics with that kind of detail into our platform. This page, I kind of took a quick pause to show you guys when I'm in Envision. This is a brand new Canvas Envision documentation. We just appended the PDF, and I can do right click in here, and you guys can see I can ungroup this view, and I can have the textual information sentence by tenses to change the information if this is an updated documentation or simply the variation of my product that I already created this documentation for. And I can also simply make it as interactive inside of Envision platform. So I'm going to click on this view, and as you guys can see, I can simply click on this image and click on delete. Just taking a quick second to delete that. Sharing in Zoom. There you go, it's gone. So now that we have the black box in here, I can go ahead and click on the 3D model. And as you guys can see, Envision platform is highly powerful of bringing different CAD functionalities into our environment. We work with the AutoCAD data, CAD, CATIA information, Siemens products, Creo, SolidWorks, and also some common file formats like STEP or IGS, JT file formats. But most importantly, we bring this CAD information one-to-one with the information, everything in terms of the metadata, PMI information, with the consent of the creator. What I mean by that, I'm going to click on the STEP file over here, and I'm going to click on this icon that is called Show Import Options. And if I click on Insert, what you guys will be seeing, ability to bring the CAD information with the tessellation quality during the import. And this is important if you're bringing parts that are so big and too small into an environment that helps you to increase the rendering quality, and also the import PMI information if you have dimensions or there's specific attributes attached to your CAD data. So I'm just going to uncheck that for now, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So with that, what we did is just bring the CAD information to our Envision documentation. That was a static PDF once we appended to this environment. So Envision is bringing the models into Envision 101. We do not change the integrity of the CAD. This is the 3D model the engineering teams designs in their applications, like we just saw SolidWorks, CATIA, or AutoCAD. And I'm going to go into the edit mode to be able to capture the right view that I need for this view. So let me just click in here very quickly. And now that I have, let's go into the edit mode to capture the right view that we need for this step. This is all about installing the nozzle of the printer and the wire clamp. And what we're going to do is we're going to work on the flat screw screws in here in this area. And what I want to do, first of all, show you guys how we can change the orientation of this model. I can go drop down this menu and go into the right perspective and capture the view that I'm looking for the instructions that you guys see in the background. Just want to take a quick pause in here. We do have a patent to be able to see the 2D information and as well as the 3D viewer in the same view like you guys are seeing today, and that it is only in Envision platform. You cannot see instructions in the backend or the block or the box that you're positioning your documentation, your views, and anywhere else besides Envision platform. So that is our patented technology. And that helps the creators immensely to see exactly where you're positioning your graphics, hence increases your creation faster time to be able to take this documentation for the end users. So you guys can see my blue box is a little bit bigger than the red box that is in my 2D view, and I can see that very precisely. And I'm just going to change the blue box dimensions in here to 7.49 by, I think it was around 448. There you go. So now we have a similar size of a box between the blue box, which is a 3D viewer, as well as the red box, which is your frozen view of the 2D functionality of Envision. So I want to zoom in here to be able to show you guys some of the functionalities we have in the 3D viewer. We brought a lot of tools in the ribbon structure, like you guys see in the 3D edit. In terms of navigating this 3D model, we do have a very easy to use navigation cube that you can grab any perspective from any orientation. Also have some pre-built in previews like you guys see in here on the left hand side. So you can, if you want to grab in any isometric view, any side views or corner views, you can easily rely on our view tab over here. We also have in the edit tab, 3D edit tab, navigation functionalities to zoom in and pan the model, but we also are amazing with the shortcut keys or the quick tools that you're used to with the Microsoft tools out there. So we definitely define our technology around the tools or the shortcut functionalities that you guys are used to, like panning with your mouse or simply zooming in with your or maybe doing a Control-A, Control-C, that are all coming from your habit of Microsoft tools. So I'm going to show you guys in this step, we need to take some of the screws in here to disassemble this part of the printer. And as you guys can see on the left-hand side, the assembly 3 comes to Envision 1-to-1. We do not change the integrity of the CAD. That's not something Envision is built for. But however, we bring the rich CAD information to Envision for anyone to create the content and also consume the content after it has been created. So I'm going to show you guys the transform functionalities in here. I'm going to click on the selection functionality first, select instances, and we're going to zoom in this area, select these bolts. Let me just click on properly. And as you guys can see, I select Envision understands all of them has been named the same by the engineering team. And I select all the pen cross screws all together. And I can click on the translate button and simply, before I click on the translate, let me show you guys how to create an offset line, which is leading lines in some cases, and transform this numerically. So with that, I can actually move these screws in precision that I'm looking for. Envision tells me that I move this around 48 millimeter in the x-axis, and if I wanted to change that and justify, change it to 40, I could easily do so. You guys can see Envision moves that accordingly to my instructions in terms of the coordinates or where the parts needs to go. So if you're working in Envision, you could definitely rely on the pivot points. That's something that we work very hard to make sure if you want to move the parts along a specific axis or a point, we have all the functionalities as well as the cutting planes. If you're working with the cross sections, that's also something that you could easily do in our platform. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see my view in the blue box a little bit. And I can visualize the 3D robot area is kind of on my way for my viewers to see exactly what they need to focus. And I can select that part in the assembly tree. I can see that belongs to robot 3D subassembly. And I can direct click in here and either hide the selection directly from the bill of materials, or I can do that the same functionality directly from the view as well, whichever you prefer. And with that, now the 3D robot is gone. I have a better look and simplistic look for my end user to see how they can actually disassemble this part of this 3D printer. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so they can actually guide themselves better and hit exit. With that exit, basically what I'm doing is taking the 3D viewer and freezing it to the 2D 2D viewer area. So now we can position this in the red box to be able to see in the documentation interactively. And as you guys can see, once I start saving this documentation and publishing it to the cloud or simply presenting directly from Envision, this is all interactive and my end user can interact with every view that I have in this document. What I wanted to talk a little bit about in here, we worked very hard in terms of combining these 3D rendered views in the backend. So if the engineering data changes, all my views that I work very carefully to capture in every step in these work instructions will be updated on the fly. So I don't have to go page by page to update this documentation. Just so you guys can see, I did one import in this document, as you guys saw me. And if I go in the check model updates, as you guys can see, I only have path to update with the engineering changes. The next view that I'm going to make it interactive is simply a copy of my first import. So you do not need to re-import your models into Envision. Hence, helps you with the file sizes. We get this question a lot. What is my file size threshold or model threshold? Because we worked hard in the back end of Envision to make these rendering processes very efficient for our customers. With that, you don't have to re-import your model. You only import it once and you can create as many views as you want from the same import to create the rich visual interactive documentation. And also when the engineering data changes, all you have to do is tie it to the same path of all those derivations of the 3D model views, and your documentation will update on the fly. To show you guys that, I'm just going to click on in here on the 3D box and do right click and copy. And with that, it's going to copy my 3D view. And let's go ahead and go into the last page. This document is very rich in terms of textual information, some software information that is installed in this 3D printer, and some 3D parts areas that these are all can be interactive with the 3D model that we can bring into Envision environment. In this page, I'm going to click on this area. This was what we bring into Envision as PDF. I'm going to do right click in here and I can ungroup this view. And as you guys can see, my text becomes text, my tables becomes table, and my visuals becomes a box of either vector graphics or raster image. In this case, I'm going to take this out because I want to make this interactive environment. So let me just grab this vector drawing directly from my document and simply we did copy, and I'm going to do right click and paste that model view in here. Just to show you guys, this is still interactive. You guys can see the 3D mark on the left corner, but also I can do right click and go into the edit mode. With this, I can change the view to anything that I think in this page is relevant with my content. So I don't have to worry about bringing the model from scratch. So if you guys remember, this page had that vectorized view of the printer from a perspective, and I would like to change that to something specific. And if you guys also remember, we changed the world orientation before, and I'm going to just update that to this perspective. I believe it's better fit in my view. And I'm going to just zoom out a little bit, and let's just a little bit more, and then exit from the 3D viewer to 2D. And now we capture the 3D view in 2D environment. We have options in Envision to visualize this view as raster graphic, like you guys are seeing today in the screen, but also we can make it as vector edges, which is going to use the silhouette mode that we have built in Envision viewer. And your views that you create from that 3D model will look like a vector drawing. And that is going to help you to print these manuals if you have to. That makes it more printer friendly, so you don't have to worry about the colors. You don't have to worry about changing some of the settings to make it more printer oriented. We worked on that, but still linked to the 3D model application. So if I want to change the view, I can go back and edit the 3D model again. But furthermore, what we also added in our functionality to take this 3D view and make it as a 2D vector graphics. The reason was that we heard our customers, they do not have the designed CAD model for every variation of their technologies. So if they have this 3D printer with this modeling, they don't have the printer, another version of it in the modeled environment. So they want to use our application to be able to reverse engineer it a little bit to get the right views that they're looking for. So I'm going to take this 3D view and I'm going to click on the create vector paths. And as you guys can see, this is also fully function dialog box that you can create tick and thin lines, create tangent edges, intersection lines, and also projections. We heard our customers, they don't want to go back to the 3D edit mode and create different views. In Envision, you can create different projections on the fly from these views that you're working on. So I'm just going to click on OK. And what Envision is going to be warning me that it's going to use 2D colors, which is obviously it's OK because of a flat file. And with that, it's going to process the vectorizing this 3D object. And once it's vectorized, I can, as you guys can see on the right-hand side, this is the vector object. And I can do right click in here and ungroup this, or simply change the fill colors to maybe no fill, because this is still needs to be printed. This still needs to be a PDF documentation that I could simply work on any functionalities in here. I can do right click and ungroup this, even redraw this 2D graphics from the 3D derivation of the model. So the one on the left-hand side is still a 3D linked rendered image, and I could simply annotate parts in here. As you guys can see, when I move my cursor, it's still into the bill of materials, so I can annotate the parts, as you guys can see in here, and simply create these cool part lists. And these part lists can be modified and worked on inside of Envision, bringing types of data from spreadsheets and kind of enrich the content as well. So before we jump to the complete interactive documentation, I want to showcase one more thing. While we were making this documentation interactive in Envision, some of the functionalities, some other functionalities that we used is working with the image files. As we know, in the work instructions, it's important to utilize the real world photos, images, and raster graphics as well. From our legacy tool, we brought all the technology in terms of pixel editing, working with vector graphics, as well as the raster files that you bring into Envision. So I'm going to click on the insert in here in the Envision environment, click on the images. As you guys can see, I'm going to bring this view and I'm going to click insert. We bring PNGs, JPEGs, TIFF file formats, all of the major raster file formats into Envision, no restrictions. And as soon as I bring my object to Canvas Envision, it gives me the contextual ribbon tab. This is kind of helps our customers with ease of learning. So you don't have to worry about where do I find those image related functionality. So it's all there. So while I have my image in here, I can simply, you have functionalities in here, crop and scale, auto trace, which is digitizing this view and making it digitized vector graphics, simply changing the pixels. If I click on edit pixels, you guys can see we have a lot of functionalities in terms of similar to Photoshop applications out there, but you don't have to go anywhere else. You can stay in Envision to utilize these tools and simply modify and adjust your image files. I have this image over here. What I see, it's kind of bigger for my view that I wanted to insert it by my documentation. So I'm going to crop it to a point that it could fit in my view. And you guys can see as soon as I have the borders, I can register and put it in on the left-hand side. Actually, before I do that, let me zoom in and I can show you guys. We can also change the background. The background in this view is gray color. So I can click in here, and with the functionality that we have in Envision, we can simply delete the background color with a simple button of a click. As you guys can see in here, I can just simply clean this as much as I like to, and simply capture that right view inside of our view, our 2D environment. Don't want to save this doc. And I can also change the hue and saturation. Maybe I have a different variation of this product. I will click on the yellow colors and make this a little bit around reddish color. That's the product maybe I have in my warehouse, and I can simply say okay, and that is the environment that I want to capture in here. So let's zoom this out a little bit and position it in our document on the left-hand side. So with a lot of functionalities in Envision, you can open a flat PDF file and simply create a digital work instructions like this, simply capturing the views from the 2D viewer, as many as you like, and update them as your engineering data changes. I'm going to take a quick pause in here and see if there are any questions for me or for our team before I jump and show you guys the completed work instructions, digitized, interactive version of it. I don't see any questions, so I'm hoping everyone is clear. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat or raise your hand. I will try to watch.
Well, Brigitte, it looks like there's one question. What CAD files do we support? Is the question.
Great question. If I go into the 3D model, and as you guys can see over here on the right-hand side, we do bring AutoCAD files, Inventor, CATIA, IGS, which is one of the common file formats, JT, Siemens files, NX, Pro Creo, ProSolid, OBJ, FBX file formats, SolidWorks, either as an assembly or as a part information. Anything that you have assembly linked files, we can bring into Envision, as well as the step files in STL. So we bring major CAD file formats into Envision natively. And that's a great question, because we hear some of our customers, one engineering team uses SolidWorks, the other team uses AutoCAD, or they prefer Siemens products. It's just a different expertise, different comfort level that they have. What Envision does is brings every type of CAD information into the same platform, so brings those teams together. They don't have to rely on those applications, because engineering teams need those seats to design the technologies the companies are working for. Was that helpful with the question?
I think so, Brigitte.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
I think there's another one as well.
Perfect. Mike, can you read it for me? Because I don't
think
I see the questions.
Of course, no problem. So the second question, it is, if you have large volume of instructions to digitize, is there a way to automate some of this process?
Large instructions, if this is coming from an environment like structured content, we could definitely integrate with those systems. As I was just showing you in the beginning of the webinar, we do have abilities to integrate with the structured content environments like PLM solutions, or simply more similar to web manuals, that you have more structured content creation environments. If you have automation that you're looking for in terms of the steps of these 3D views, we could definitely work with the scripting. We have the scripting functionality built in our platform, and definitely can address those things if you wanted to simply capture the right isometric view in each step just automatically. Those are things that we can definitely automate with the scripting functionalities we have. Hope that answered.
I believe it did.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions, Mike? You see?
I don't see anything yet, Burju.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to this finished document in here on my screen. I hope you guys are seeing it okay. This is that document that I was just showing you to create how we created inside of Envision, but it's completely finished. And what you guys can see in here, I'm going to just put this in the presentation mode so it's a little bit easier to consume. Envision documentation, once it's created and saved into the cloud as a standalone tool, can be consumed from the web browser, also from a QR code. What you guys are seeing on your screen today is the QR code will take you to this documentation. If you want to scan with your mobile phone or tablet, whichever you have in your hand, it will take you to this documentation so you guys can see that interactivity like our customer sees from their end user perspective. I'm just going to show you guys a couple of functionalities in the presentation mode that we know it brings efficiencies for our customers. As you can see on the right corner, I have Spanish and English option to pick this documentation textual information from. So this is, of course, we're all working in the bilingual world or trilingual world in these days, and we want to make sure anyone is comfortable in the language that they're reading the instructions so they can actually deliver that quality performances in their shop floors or on-site workforces. And with that, we added this functionality in our layering inside of our technology. So the end user can pick and choose the language that they're comfortable. And from the creator perspective, they don't have to create multiple documentation. They can stay in one tool and simply maintain one version of this documentation in different layers, but they can provide kind of different functionalities to their end users directly from the web browser or in the presentation mode like you guys are seeing in here. We have a lot of functionalities in terms of symbols and templates that I'm going to share with you in a second. But the idea in terms of the interactivity, the page that we just inserted together is if I click on this, while I'm presenting this to my team, I can zoom in an area and simply focus in those things that I was just referring in those instructions to take it apart, or simply pause in an area that I can explode this model and highlight a part and simply see where it actually resides inside of the bill of materials structure. And that empowers the end user with the single source of truth, which is your CAD information, which is your technology, which is your, kind of competitive edge comparison to your other competitors out there. So I'm going to show you guys the master page concept in here. I was talking about the templates. In Envision, we can create as many master pages as you like. And as you guys can see, we can actually build them inside of your Envision environment. So if I was creating this 3D printer type of use case, all I have to do is select this template and start adding my new 3D models, new visuals, new textual information. But the templates could be built in as well as the symbol information on the right-hand side. We have some built-in symbols and icons that we work very hard with our customers' requests. For example, electrical assemblies or creating wire harness diagrams on simply taking the electrical in here, but it is very easy to actually register your own symbols and icons in our platform as well. You can see we can work with the vector graphics, raster images, and combination of those with textual information as well. So you don't have to worry about putting your addresses on the left corner, or simply the version numbers, or it's kind of like templates like this in your symbol library. So that's about our master pages. And if I go down a little bit on this documentation, every page in here, every step in this documentation, I hope you guys get a chance to scan the code, but are all interactive. This over here, basically installing the rack. And if I go a little bit down in here, taking some of the isolated parts on the side, like fans, before you install it into the 3D printer, and as well as some real world photos from the software that goes into this printer. We definitely value all of that information in our platform. If I have an image, as you guys can see, I can definitely work with that image file to be able to update and change the right view, capture the right view that I'm looking for. And one thing that I want to emphasize while we're here, ease of use tool is Annotation Lens. It's one of the favorites that I get from my customers all the time. They say they love it. It definitely makes their life easier. I can click on this area and register a specific view to highlight and emphasize if this corner is extremely fragile, or if it definitely requires extra attention. It's a one click, and with the exaggeration that you can customize. This is 300%, but we can make that 200% if you want to, or make it even exaggerated. So if you're looking for a complicated diagram, and if you want to bring the emphasis to a specific area, we definitely have the functionality in our tool. So as you guys can see, we bring with image files, 3D data. More importantly, what we wanted to show you today, also another use case that we address for our customers, kind of bringing this information to another level in terms of training, documentation, just-in-time training functionality to our customers. We added functionalities like animation, which helps our customers to simulate these models in the order that those steps requires them to take their end users, and also listen some of the instructions. So this part of the show and tell, my colleague Jack is going to steal the screen from me and share his screen to be able to show you guys our animation as well as the voice over functionality. So Jack, I'm going to stop sharing. And if you want to take the screen away.
Thank you so much, Bridget.
Of course.
Share screen. Here's the screen share. Okay, so let me see. Does everybody picture? Does everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we see it, Jack.
Okay, great. Thank you. The first part over and done. So this is in edit mode. When you can see from the contextual tab, you have the 3D edit mode. This means that I am inside because you can see the assembly tree and everything. However, I also have, you see this is selected, I am in animation mode. I'm going to hide that so that you have a better chance of seeing what we need to see. In animation, everything is done with your parts and how you want to project them. And it's all done with the idea of keyframes. So what you need to do is, create the views exactly as Bridget did throughout her presentation. And with each keyframe, you would be able to have from key to key. Envision does all the in-betweening. So what that really means is it knows where you started, what the position of the model was at one juncture, and where it's going. So in this case, you have the camera angle. The camera is literally showcasing the entire model. You can change opacity. So in case of doing step-by-step instruction, I can have a part that's completely invisible, and I introduce it to you. So as you do these things, I would want to, ensure that you could see exactly what part I wanted to focus my attention or focus your attention on. So I have in here a change of color where I'm flashing so that you can see the color change. And then I'm introducing it fully so that you can see what I'm doing with the part. Now, if I just let this play, this is just a short bit. It's going from all of the different keyframes. And the last part here would be the location. So that literally takes a part It knows where it started. It knows where it wants it to end. And I'm able to make all of these different types of changes. If I back out of here right now, so if I exit out, you see up in this top corner, I have also added audio. Now, the audio is something that plays within the context of your cloud. And I'm going to not say that. But when you have the audio, you can insert audio by, sorry. All right, so if I want to insert audio, I have the option of being able to add an audio file, or I can record it myself. I want to go back inside here. I apologize because I did forget the one thing that Brigitte told me, do not forget, and that's that with all of the work that you do in your animation, you can save the file. So we have the ability to export the file, creating an MP4. You can create it in a number of different options. So did that just go away? There we are. So for the options that we have, fully high def, we can do, you know, a little bit more compressed so that it's ready for YouTube. We can do up to 4K just in case you want to, you know, show off your models on, you know, large screens in conferences, in your, you know, meeting rooms, whatever it is that you want to do, you have the options of being able to create these animations and display them in MP4. So now what I'd like to do is, just as we did earlier, I'm going to go into the cloud, and hopefully when I start to play this, you're going to hear it with the audio.
Move the right profile of the bottom module 35 millimeters out of the desktop.
Now, if you can hear my voice, I'm hoping that you can hear that as well.
Gantry in the slot and pre-lock it with two M5 by 45 hexagon socket round screw.
And the great thing about this is, if you have a question, you can stop the, you know, stop the video, and you still have the option of being able to, you know, indicate whichever parts. Now I'm in presentation mode. If I got out of presentation mode, I'd still have my assembly tree for you to see. Oh, exactly, right there, that's the part. So here we have animation, but it's animation that you can literally stop and interact with the model. Is there any questions that I can answer with regard to animation?
Mike, do you see any questions from the audience?
Not right now.
I do not see any questions, Brigitte, not yet.
Awesome. So, Jack, is it okay if I take the screen?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Share the screen. Awesome. Do you guys see it okay? I don't want to do picture in picture.
Here we are.
You
Perfect.
guys see it? Awesome. I'm going to just to show you guys the functionality in terms of collaboration. And that's something that we hear our customers, even during the creation process of the documentation, or even the design process, or simply communicate with your internal team members. You would want to have a solution like this to be able to tell the documentation story to them and ask their feedback. Maybe you need an additional data, maybe you need an additional image on this content to be able to finalize this documentation for the release. So for that, we worked in terms of collaborating through our platform. If any organization are using Envision platform as a standalone tool. So if I go in the review tab over here, if this documentation has been saved to the cloud environment, I can ask questions and clarify points with my colleagues and simply get to the bottom of the things that I wanted to finalize in this doc. So I'm going to click on this area. I'm going to highlight this screen because we heard from our customers that it is too small for them to be able to capture the right views because there is a software involved in this assembly. So I'm going to bring Jack which is my internal stakeholders, or this could be your external stakeholders that you want to bring into documentation with their email addresses, with a question, or simply get their attention to the specific part on this documentation so your image and your context doesn't stay apart, so you don't have to put them in together. In here, we're going to ask a quick question to Jack, simply around, hi, could you please install a larger screen for the customers to see the whole UI of the software, because they're struggling with the views that they have today. And once I save that and simply save and sync this documentation to the cloud environment, Jack, you guys just met, he will be getting an email notification from Canvas Envision platform with the request to go to this link and simply get his feedback. Either this could be additional data, could be simply a verbal explanation what else it needs to be added to this documentation, or simply something to fix so I can actually have the right content for my end user. So Jack, did you get the email from Canvas Envision?
I have not received an email yet.
Just let me save and sync the doc, because I'm on the creator side of things. And let me just go ahead and save the document. What Jack will be getting is an email link of this documentation with the question that he can actually go ahead and click onto and simply put his feedback. And on the creator side of things, I can work on this from the creator and fix the documentation and send the updated link to my end users, either through the QR code or simply with the URL link. Or I can say, this is the version 1 of my content, and with the updated information is going to be version 2. So what we'll be seeing on the right-hand side with information, let me just file and save this documentation. That's here, so you guys can see it. So share for review, and let me bring Jack to this document. So the share process, you can share this documentation with the workspace members, which is my colleague, as I was just referring, inviting people by their email addresses, or simply creating anonymous link access from this documentation. And that could be a thumbnail, that could be a simple URL that you can add it as an iframe. We can take this documentation and build them inside of your HTML environment for the end user consumption to see it exactly. As you guys can see, Jack is in this documentation with the share functionality we just had, and he's viewing the document, and he gave me his feedback in terms of taking the screen from 4 inches to 6 inches. As you guys can see, he's typing the messages and thanking everyone that joined today. And definitely helps to see the process, the creation side of documentation, as well as the end user consumption. With that, let me jump into the end user consumption side of things in here. Oh, sorry, right here. This is a document we're looking from the end user perspective. And as you guys can see, we can put this in the presentation mode that you have more space to be able to look at the content. And I can skip through the layers that we were just talking about, switching from 2D to 3D or different language data that is layered. And I can simply see any kind of information, 2D graphics, real world images, as well as if we go to one more step in here, the interactive work instructions. If I'm working with these pen head screws and I want to see exactly how they look like, I can zoom in inside of Envision without bothering the engineering team and do right click and isolate that, see exactly, is that really the right part that I have in hand to finalize this process? And that could be definitely a big, important step in my processes that I'm taking this assembly from, step 2 all the way to step 20. So that's, we give this flexibility to our customers to be able to engage with any views in this documentation that they wanted to see the details, interact them with the CAD data. So I only have 5 minutes left. I know I talked a lot, but just want to pause in here and see if there are any questions, any feedback. or any interest in seeing this more in kind of working with your systems or in your environment with your use cases, we offer proof of concept. We believe in ourselves so much. If we have your use case and your data, we could definitely make sure that you will see the efficiencies and the value of Envision platform in your organization. So we'd like to take you to a proof of concept environment that we can work with you guys to see the full value on your end, either trialing Envision in-house or simply trusting us with your data and creating a documentation and showcasing to you what Envision can do for your end users. I'm going to pause and see if there are any questions for us. Have any questions, team?
Hey, Burju, what about a trial of the software? Are we
Right? Great question. So as I just mentioned, we definitely can offer a trial of our platform. This could be offline or through the platform. If you want to try also test the collaboration piece of it, we could definitely do that. And as I just mentioned, we could also do work with your own data to show you kind of before in your PDF files versus in EV docs to see how further your instructions can become and your end user could get the value of the interactivity of the documentation. So we do have ability to also work in your cloud environments if that's something that you wanted to choose, and definitely work with you guys with the integration options as well, like we do with a bunch of our customers in terms of PLM, MES, or LMS system integrations as well. So the use cases is pretty much endless, but we would like to see your own data and your documentation to show the full value in our platform. And with that, definitely trial is an option as well as the POC.
great information?
Of course. So thank you so much, everyone. If you guys need any further information or any further demo requests, please let us know. We are here to answer any questions, any feedback coming in your way. We definitely improve our solutions based on our customer feedback. We're a very customer-oriented team in here, our development team, as well as our sales and customer success team. We would love to hear from you, and we would love to work with you in the near future. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye for now.
Okay.